All right. I wanted to make this response to this Ascendant Nomad Destiny 2 video. And unfortunately, most of my videos run long, and I suspect this one will too. Probably it'll be a 30-minute video, but I'll try to keep it to 20 minutes maybe. First thing is I didn't watch Ascendant Nomad's video, okay, of why hand cannons will always be meta. And I'm going to rebut it. Now, why did I not watch it? Because I can't stand this garbage, okay? I've been playing Destiny for 6 years, and I've been hating hand cannons and their domination for most of it, okay? Now, people, and I've been arguing about it on Reddit, on Twitter, everywhere, forever, okay? And I've heard all the arguments, and it's all crap. But my basic point is I like pulse rifles, I like scout rifles. Maybe it's because I'm old, I don't know why, but I just like them better. I just never played with hand cannons from the beginning, so I never got like that hand cannon muscle memory. I never liked them. And now it's probably like too late because I got 6 years of like muscle memory. I do play with hand cannons sometimes, but I don't even like them in PvE. I just don't like them. Okay, that's my right, okay? Because a lot of people will probably, I've been in all these debates, they try to cast aspersions on you right away, like, well, a lot of the punk kids in PvP will immediately go, oh, well, because you're bad at PvP, that's why you don't like it. I mean, that may be so. I have my right to, play whatever weapon class I want, and it should be competitive. And the numbers will tell you that nothing but hand cannons is competitive in this game. In PvP, period. Now, like I said, I've gone through this debate a million times. I know every nook and cranny of this debate. So without watching Ascendant Nomad's video, because I couldn't stomach it, because I know the garbage he's going to spew. I know all the arguments already. He's going to say certain things. He's going to say hand cannons will always be meta because they have certain intrinsic, like built-in advantages, such as peak shooting. You can go behind a barricade and you can pop out and shoot, and you can do one high damage shot. You know, these arguments aren't new. They go back 6 years. You know, I was watching videos about this stuff when Ascendant Nomad was in diapers, and people were saying the same thing. Oh, you can go around a barricade and shoot, and you get one high damage burst, and then you can go right back behind the barricade. You know, these videos were out when Ascendant Nomad was in diapers. And another thing is aerial play. That's the other big thing. You can jump, and you can jump over stuff and whatever, shoot. You know, with other guns, it's hard to do. Okay, those are basically the intrinsic arguments why hand cannons are. And, okay, what bugs me is there's these idiots, there's a lot of them, that are basically like, oh, hand cannons are always going to be strong, it doesn't matter what, what buffs and nerfs happen, it's always going to be, no, bull. First of all, there have been metas where hand cannons objectively have not been the strongest, okay? So that's proof right there that they're not always the strongest. My thing is they're just balanced by Bungie to be the strongest, which is the truth, okay? And the reason Bungie does that is because the community, which is mostly hand cannon favoring people, bully them to. The community will not. Bungie does what the community wants, period. Okay, and what the community wants is hand cannons to be dominant. So Bungie balances hand cannons to be OP. That's the facts of the matter. They're not OP by any nature of their existence, okay? Like I said, Vanilla D1, right? People hated that meta. But it was probably because of the time to kill, not because of any other factor. The time to kill was pretty long. But hand cannons were not dominant at all. It was Uriel's gift. It was Mida. It was that submachine gun. You know, those were the dominant guns. Okay, right there. You had a meta where hand cannons were not dominant. Okay? Easy. How about some other ones that came along later? I remember watching a tournament at one point. I don't remember what meta or when it was in D2. You'll have to forgive me on metas because I can't remember all the metas sometimes. But everybody was using Vigilance Wing. This isn't a tournament, okay? Like a top-level play. Everybody was using Vigilance Wing at that time. Whatever meta we were in, Vigilance Wing was the king. Okay? Right there, again. You have another meta where hand cannons were not king, okay? And you've had other ones. You've had Clever Dragon. Now, I'd argue hand cannons were better at the top level, because they were, even in the Clever Dragon. But you still hear people complain about Clever Dragon. Okay, that was a pulse rifle. What about, so the point is you can have, there was another meta, what was the Gnawing Hunger? There was the auto rifle meta, and it was Gnawing Hunger. Now, again, hand cannons were still the best in that meta. Okay, so hand cannon players have nothing to complain about. They're always the best, usually. Even in what's defined as other metas, like the Clever Dragon meta, no, I was in the Clever Dragon meta. Hand cannons were still the best for high level play. Okay, Clever Dragon was really good and easy to use, and it may have kind of dominated quick play and things like that, but at the very best level, it was still hand cannons. So half the time, hand cannon users have nothing to complain about. They're always the best. I mean, okay, they're not always the best, though. Some metas where they were genuinely not the best was like Vanilla D1, and the Graviton Lance meta, and the Vigilant Swing meta in D1. So there were metas where they were not the best, but there were other metas where it was perceived they were not the best, where they actually were still the best. Like Clever Dragon meta, and, oh shoot, there was another, where the auto rifle meta that wasn't too long ago, where Gnawing Hunger. Hand cannons were still the best in those metas, so. Point is, though, it's very trivial to balance hand cannons where they're not meta, where they're not the best. You could do so many things, you know. I couldn't even. What if you gave them all a 6-round magazine, for example? But alright, so hand cannon nonsense users will always be like, oh, well, you know, hand cannons will always be. Well, why are they so. If that's the truth, why are they so terrified? Hand cannon users are utterly terrified, and this is absolutely the truth, and no one can argue this. They're absolutely terrified of nerfs to hand cannons. Because I remember every time there was a slight nerf to hand cannon, you go on Reddit, they're so scared. They're terrified. You know, when 150s were eliminated, for example, they were terrified. I mean, hand cannons still completely dominated, as anyone with a brain knew they would, because we'd seen past metas where 150s didn't even exist. And, you know, just whatever, however you want to throw it around. Anyone with a brain knew hand cannons were still going to be the best after 150s were removed. But hand cannon users were still terrified about that. They were terrified every time hand cannons get like a range nerf. Because hand cannons got their range nerf a while back. This is funny because hand cannons and pulse rifles both got their ranges nerfed. And at Reddit, the hand cannon users were just, they were apoplectic, you know. Oh, Bungie nerfed us into the ground. I saw all kinds of comments like that. They lied. I forgot there was some scandal about they supposedly lied about how much they were nerfing the range of hand cannons and nerfed the range more or something. I don't even remember, but the hand cannon users were so angry because, oh my gosh, they nerfed us quote unquote into the ground. Well, pulse rifles got their, first of all, hand cannons were still the best thing out there, if I remember correctly. And second of all, pulse rifles got their range destroyed too, and they never got it back because hand cannons, like a couple updates later, got all their range back and like 10 times more. I mean that's when 120s first got their huge range nerf right there, that update. And now 120's range has been nerfed somewhat, but even then they like 140's got a huge range buff. It was when Bungie eliminated 150s, that's what it was. They eliminated 150s if I remember, but in exchange to keep all the hand cannon users happy, because the hand cannon users were scared, like they always are, of nerfs, they gave a bunch of range back to the other hand cannons, but they never gave any range back to pulses or changed pulses at all. So I always find that funny, you know. Pulses, hey, let's destroy 2 classes of weapons range, right? And then we give hand cannons all their range back and way more than they originally had, but pulses just stay dead and we don't even talk about their range buffs anymore. Most pulses now have terrible range. The only ones that have decent range are 340 RPMs. And even those were like outranged by 120 hand cannons until this latest nerf. And now they'll like slightly outrange 120 hand cannons, but not even that much, you know. And something like a grid skipper, all those, they're not outranging hand cannons, you know. You go grid skipper damage fall off is like 31 meters, 33 meters. It's very, very, very short distance, you know. Most archetypes of pulses have very pathetic range in this meta. And another thing people will do to lie and pretend people who don't use pulses will lie and pretend that pulse scopes confirm that pulses have a lot of range. Because if you get like certain pulses have scopes, not even very many, mostly just the Suros pulses, I think. if you get the Ceros pulses, and there's actually a few more now I think about it, but you can put a long range scope on there, and you can get the range higher. And so they'll say like, "Oh, what are you talking about? Pulse rays have like 50-meter range." No, they don't, because no one uses long range scopes. That's like no one uses long range scopes on a sniper. No, hand cannons. One reason they're good is because they get the unfair advantage of having such a low zoom. So you're arguing to like get a pulse rifle with a super zoomed in scope to get more range out of it, and then you're saying like, "Oh, pulses have 50-meter range." No, they don't. Do you know what the most popular pulse rifle was for ages? It's still way below all the hand cannons, but what was it? It was Bygones. Bygones does not have scopes. Okay, if scopes were a magic range bullet like people act, why would a pulse without a scope ever be on the radar? No, nobody ever uses pulses with long-range scopes. They all lie and say they do on Reddit, but they don't. You don't see that in the game. You hardly even see Ceros pulses in the game. When was the last time you saw Last Prediction? Last Prediction is the easiest gun to get in the freaking game. They sell it at the gunsmith every week. Before that, it dropped from shacks like candy for years. No one uses Last Prediction. That has scopes. If you could just slap a scope on a pulse and it had great range, no one would use a pulse without scopes. Pulses without scopes, like Bygones and Messenger and all these, are the de facto dominant pulses. So anyways, pulses at their base range, which is the only viable range, by the way. So don't give me the scopes garbage and lie and be misleading. But so most of them have a range around 30 to 35 meters. Just like hand cannons, they do have the advantage, to be honest, of their fall-off damage curve is lower, so they kind of stick farther out. That's true. That's 100% true. And in that way, they can sort of outrange hand cannons sometimes. But, just basically, most hand cannons or pulse rifles are not outranging hand cannons. Now, the 340s can, but barely. Okay. Anyways, where was I at? Oh, yeah. So yes, hand cannon users cried, and they were so scared about when they got their range nerf. I remember these just absolutely bitter posts on Reddit after the nerf about how Bungie nerfed hand cannon range into the ground. Oh, poor hand cannons. You're only 95% usage now instead of 98, Give me a break, you hand cannon players. I mean, they were so bitter, So I don't understand, if hand cannons are so powerful and they're always going to be meta because they're just naturally, why are hand cannon users so scared and so bitter about every nerf that comes? I mean, absolutely bitter, Go on Reddit. They're so scared. If there's ever going to be a hand cannon nerf being discussed anyway. So that completely proves that hand cannons are not intrinsically the best. Because if they were, their users wouldn't be scared, terrified of nerfs. And they always have been. Like I said, I've got a long time on Reddit, and I know that's a fact. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to cite examples. I know, and that's a fact. Hand cannon users are terrified of nerfs. Okay? If Bungie came out tomorrow and said, we're really looking at dialing back hand cannon range. Granted, they just did for 120s, but everybody knew, first of all, 140s already have really great range historically. And 35 meters, I mean, the hand cannons used to have 25-meter range, okay? So anything they got now is like just amazing. Anyway, so points about, I'm getting too bogged down, and this video is almost the 14-minute mark. I'm trying to remember the main points I wanted to hit. Hand cannons have all these advantages. Think of the power of exotic hand cannons. This is to prove that Bungie balances them to be OP. Think of Ace of Spades perk. Stop and think about it for a minute. It's kill clip, but it never ends. You get your kill clip, and unless you switch to another gun, and they even changed that. That's even a nerf. But you get your kill clip, it lasts forever unless you switch guns, and you get like 6 bullets. Like normal kill clip is like 5 seconds, like 4.5 seconds, and then it's done. You don't get. No, Ace of Spades, you get, I think, like 6 bullets, isn't it? Or 9 if you get 2 kills. I don't even know exactly how it works. But it's endless. Like, can you imagine how powerful that is? But, it's a hand cannon. No big deal, Hand cannons can do whatever they want. It's ridiculous. Imagine if Multi-Tool. Imagine if its exotic perk was, you get kill clip, but it doesn't end, you know. Can you imagine? So why is that allowed on a hand cannon, you know? And stop and think about the perks on the other exotic hand cannons and how insane they are, okay? Stop thinking about Crimson. It gives you your freaking health back. Stop and think, I don't even play any of these hand cannons, so I may not really know what all they do. But Thorn, it gives you some kind of ridiculous poison. You know, can you imagine if these perks were on like exotic pulse rifles or something? You know, what the hell? These things are insane. Hawk Moon, I don't even know what it does anymore, but somehow you get some super juiced bullets or something. You know? These perks are just absurd. They wouldn't be allowed on any other gun, you know? But, oh, hand cannon, somehow it's okay. Something think about the last word and all the advantages that has. It has some kind of like super hip fire, and it does like 98 damage to the body from hip. I mean, it melts you in like half a second. You know? And it's just so effective. All these exotic hand cannons are insane. Next, let's see. Trying to hit a few of these bullet points. I'm at the 16-minute mark, trying to keep this a 30-minute video. Bungie themselves, I wanted to point out, has said that hand cannons are not the strongest. They've said, and I don't have sites for this, but Google it or whatever. Just trust me if you don't want to Google it. The one about sidearms was recent. They either said it on the big round table, the Crucible round table they had with Fallout Plays and all them. I think they said it somewhere in there, which granted is a lot of time to search through, but they mentioned something about sidearms, and they have to be really careful balancing because they tend to take over really quickly. Alright, and you can understand that. So they basically said, like, we have to really keep a short leash on sidearms because they tend to get really powerful really fast if we buff them and just dominate the sandbox. They didn't say anything about hand cannons, they said sidearms. Another thing, they said scout rifles. They said the same thing about scout rifles. Because there was a time when people were always clamoring for scout rifle buffs. And they kind of said, like, in PvP, we can't buff scouts too much because this was back, they did like an aim assist buff to scouts or something, but it's kind of wimpy. And that's what they kind of explained why the buff was so wimpy with. They said, you know, like, scout rifles just dominate the battlefield too easily because of their great range. So we kind of have to, you know, we can't let them go crazy or something. So Bungie themselves has said scout rifles and sidearms would dominate the battlefield if they weren't kept down artificially. But they didn't say anything about hand cannons doing that, you know. So another strike, and the idea that hand cannons are somehow just dominant by nature. They're not. What else? I know I had some more points. Just the aim assist on hand cannons is insane. Oh, one thing I wanted to make out is like one common lie that you hear from hand cannon users of why scouts are not allowed to be buffed. Again, what difference does it make if hand cannons are always going to be meta? Why do you care if something else gets buffed? Because they're not always going to be meta, and you know it. But one thing I've argued with a lot of people on Reddit and elsewhere is they don't want scout rifles buffed because they don't want a passive meta. They hated the Mida meta, they'll all say. They hated everybody sitting in the back with Mida. Well, first of all, that's a lie. Okay, they're just lying to keep scout rifles down because, do you know how you know that? Because how many people in this game run a sniper rifle? You want to talk about the ultimate passive, sit back in a lane weapon. And it's like, you know, this game is basically hand cannons, shotguns, and snipers. It's basically three things. Okay? I mean, and one of those is like the most ultimate passive laning weapon you could ever imagine. And half of hand cannon users probably run shotguns, or 2/3, and like half of them run sniper rifle. So on the one hand, they claim to dislike passive laning metas, which I don't even agree that scout rifle meta is such. It's not. It just means you'd run up and engage with sidearms or whatever, you know. Because, you know, movement in this game is such that close range combat's always going to be the play in a way. But anyways, so yeah, so that was my point there. The hypocrisy of the hand cannon community. They'll lie and say, oh, we don't want to lane all the time, it's so passive. That's why we don't want scout rifles to be good. That's why we bully Bungie to make sure scout rifles are never good. Because that's what they do, they bully. That's the fulcrum here. The community bullies, and Bungie agrees with them, I believe, and also just does it because the community bullies them to always keep hand cannons the most powerful and the most overbalanced. Okay, it's not natural. Oh, second thing about the laning meta is that, we don't want pass. And then you remember when there was this, because I sure do, there was this big rush to get max range Owlstringer at one point. A few months ago or even years ago, I don't remember. There was this hand cannon called Owlstringer, and you could get max range on it, and this, that, and the other. It was the thing. Everybody was going for the max range Owlstringer in, what was that? The Menagerie, okay? I'm just like, so why is that the case if you don't like passive? You don't like sitting back in the lane? Well, what are you worried about this range so much for hand cannon users? So again, they lied, and that proves it. That they like to sit back in lane with their hand cannons. Two, they want range on their hand cannons. They crave range on their hand cannons. Yet they claim they hate rangy things because it leads to passive metas. Okay, sure. False. Next. So yeah, that's mainly, I guess. I'm trying to remember my other points. So yeah, I mean, you could trivially balance hand cannons to be less powerful. I mean, even if you just, let's say you made, yeah, I mean, you could trivially balance hand cannons to not be OP and not be dominant. But Bungie won't, because they're gutless, and also because they don't want to. The people running the meta at Bungie want hand cannons to be on top forever. So, I mean, but the fact is Destiny 2 is dying, and I think the stale meta is probably part of the reason why. It's dying. Everybody goes to Call of Duty, Warzone, this and that now, Halo. Do you know what those games don't have? Hand cannons. I'm just throwing it out there. I wanted to back up with statistics. Oh, and this idiot Nomad, he also says at one point, we got the most diverse meta ever. I've been hearing this a lot lately, and it's a lie. Hand cannon users always say that. The meta is so diverse. No, it isn't. You can only use a hand cannon. Okay, look at this. I got this for proof real quick. Guardian GG. Here's hand cannons at the top. I put Xboxes. That's my platform, but regardless, that's the main. It's the same everywhere. But I put survival again because that's the hardest activity, the one where you want to win the most. But it's the same in quick play, trust me. I think it's a little more varied in quick play, but similar. Look, hand cannons, almost 30%. Shotguns, 2 lines way ahead of everything else. Oh, what a surprise that is. And look at everything else way down here. And look, I think the new patch that everybody claims opened up the meta was like right around early July, wasn't it? I don't even remember. What has changed? Nothing. Pulse rifles have gone down a little. Hand cannons have gone up. They've gone up since that patch. That supposedly, it's a wide open meta now. All this bullcrap hand cannon people will tell you. You look at it, hand cannons are used on basically 29%. Let's add up the next. Pulse rifles about 8%. Auto rifles 7, so that's 15. What else have we got? Scout rifles 5, so that's 20. So the other 3 archetypes of primaries combined are 20% of long-range primaries. The main 4, I would call them, from D1. And then you could add, like, submachine guns be by 24%. Sidearms, too, so you'd be at, like, 26%. And I guess if you count bows, you'd be at, like, 28. So you can add up everything that uses primary ammo together. And they're, like, about, like, 7 weapon types. Like, auto rifles, pulse rifles, scout rifles, submachine guns, bows, and sidearms combined are about the same as just hand cannons. And again, the fact that Ascendant Nomad, he left a comment to somebody talking, or a pinned comment or something, on and on about how this is the most diverse meta and this and again, a lie. Look, this is an objective lie. This was the time of the last patch, I believe. Hand cannon usage has increased. Their dominance has increased. I think the last word got like a huge buff too. And so I bet you just the increase in the last word alone, one single hand cannon, probably was greater than the increase in all pulse rifles put together. Pulse rifles got no buff anyway. The only people thought they became more playable because 120 hand cannons range got nerfed a little bit. And they can 2-tap less easily now. You have to have like kill clip or an empowering rift to 2-tap with them or whatever it is. I mean, you know, nothing changed. Look at this. So, don't lie, Ascendant Nomad. You're a liar. You lie. I mean, this stuff makes me angry. It's bold-faced lies. Let's go to, Weapon Insights here at, Destiny 2, Destiny Tracker. This has the top PvP meta. Again, we look at usage, competitive PvP. We can do quick play too, but it's, like I said, quick play is a little more open on Destiny Tracker. A little more open, but, look, Palindrome. This is when you're trying to win, basically. So this is a true picture of the meta, in my opinion. The truest picture. Again, handgun is dominating quick play too, but maybe a little less. But then, you know, I want to see sometimes how hand cannons when it counts. That's what matters. But look, here, look at this. Palindrome, hand cannon, shotgun. Hand cannon, shotgun. Boy, what a diverse meta. Sniper rifle. The last word. Oh, the diversity is just off the charts. Another exotic hand cannon. Sniper rifle. Oh, man, the diversity. It's one-hit kill specials and hand cannons right on down the line, ain't it? Oh, shotgun. We're up to the top 8 already. Oh, man. Oh, another exotic hand cannon. What? I gotta rub my eyes. Is that for real? An exotic hand cannon? Thorn. Oh, what? Another hand cannon? We finally get to something that's not a sniper, a shotgun, or a hand cannon. And it's like number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and it's the infamous Bastion. And here again, I've noticed another trend. If there's anything that's like not a hand cannon, shotgun, or sniper, anywhere near the top of the meta, everybody screams to nerf it, okay? It just happened with Dead Man's Tale. Oh, I remembered what I want to talk about. Let me get to that in a minute. But you know, there's constant kind of buzz to nerf Bastion too. Is it just because nothing but a hand cannon, sniper, or shotgun can be, you know, even 11th place or whatever Bastion is? I think so. Because it just happened with Dead Man's Tale. Dead Man's Tale was like kind of up here, 4th or 5th. Maybe even 3rd sometimes. Mostly because it's good on PC. It wasn't good on console when most players are. You can go to Destiny, warmind.io on Discord. You can look up Destiny population. Like 80% of Destiny players are on console between PS4 and Xbox. But so DMT was only good on PC, and then yeah, so it's like people just put a laser on whatever's the first, not a hand cannon, not a shotgun, not a sniper. So Bastion gets all the calls for nerfs right now. Weird, you know, and no, I never use Bastion personally. Well, look, more hand cannons. Hand cannons, shotgun. Oh, look, another hand. Boy, what a diverse meta. I mean, this meta could not get any more diverse than a Fortune 500 company. Let's see. So finally, the first primary ammo on the thing is Shayura's Wrath. And I bet most of that is because Shayura's Wrath's good on PC. Where 20% of people are. Because submachine guns are not even very good on consoles. Oh, more hand cannons, because we didn't have enough of those. You know, the 50th hand cannon in the game. And finally, we come to the messenger. I can't even count how far down the list that is. A whopping 1.2% usage. And then we get more hand cannon shotguns. Bolton. Gnawing Hunger. We finally get a couple auto rifles way down the list. Finally get a grenade launcher. So, this meta is a joke. It's not diverse at all. All you can use are a hand cannon and a shotgun or a sniper. Okay? And then, let's go to... what did I want to... Oh, I wanted to address one more thing. That was this bull crap about how... I think this is what it was. Hand cannon people will say, like, well, the reason hand cannons are popular... Or hand cannons are not the best, they're just popular. Okay, what a freaking lie. They'll say like, oh, you know, these pulse rifles can kill in .67. They're really better, but people just like the... What a absolute lie, okay? So, when Graviton Lance was the king, were people using it because they liked it? It was just popular? Okay, they just didn't like the hand cannons anymore, they were all using Graviton Lance because it was popular? Yeah, I don't think so. So, by that very token, you're saying people they liked Graviton Lance better than hand cannons? Because, There are people that will make this argument. I don't know if Ascendant Nomad did, but the argument I'm going against is there are people who say, well, hand cannons aren't the best. They're just popular. People like them. That's why people use them. They're not overbalanced or anything. You know, it's all fair. It's people just like the hand cannons. Bull-loney. Bull-loney. I don't know if Ascendant Nomad made this argument, but I know it's a popular one. Okay, so like I said, you can disprove this so easily. So why were people using Mida and Uriel's gift in that meta? Why did people switch all of a sudden in this latest patch? They all went from 140 hand cannons for the most part. There's still some 140s around. Or 120s to 140s. Why? Because they suddenly, as per the last patch, they all went, oh, you know what? We're tired of our 120 hand cannons. We like 140 hand cannons now. No, like this is such a fake, obviously crap argument. They went to 140s because 120s got nerfed. People always go to what's good in this game. Period. The end. The end. Okay? The end. I mean, there's so many examples of this. You know, I'm trying to think of other ones, but like I said, so people were just loving Graviton Lance that time. It was really good. Huh? And now they don't like Graviton Lance anymore. That's why nobody uses it anymore. Get real. So yeah, those are some other points. Oh, and I guess while we're touching on it, the whole .67 TTK, it's nonsense. It's almost impossible to get 2 bursts with the Messenger or any 340. If you could have a .67 TTK on something with that good of range, it would dominate the sandbox, okay? It's not happening. And here, you can prove that easily in a few ways. Go look at anybody's crit percentage. It's going to be in the 60s, okay? I don't care if it's Panda, the best damn player in the game, okay? Go look at his pulse rifle crit percentage. It's 60-some, okay? I can tell you without looking. Because you're not getting 100% headshots with the pulse rifle. It's not possible, okay? I don't care how good you are. It's not possible, okay? And not only is it not possible, even 70% basically isn't possible. I've never seen anybody ever with a pulse rifle crit percentage. You can look at them on Destiny Tracker of over 60-ish, like between 60 and 70%, like in the 60s. Okay, it's not possible. Not. I honestly don't even think you can control bursts. I think it's RNG. I really do, because they're hit scan. How is it not RNG? But I could be wrong on that. So yeah, that's another thing is they'll try to argue in terms of TTK, but TTK is nonsense because like 120s nominally had a 1 second TTK and they dominated. Why? Because they were a 0.5 TTK with any buff, and because they had insane range and everything else. I'm not arguing hand cannons don't have some intrinsic advantages, such that their time to kill needs to be adjusted to account for those, so that other things can have a fair chance, you know. Oh shoot, I just had another good point I forgot. And if you want to argue about... Oh shoot, I can't... I just thought of something that was great that I was gonna make, and I can't think of it. Maybe I can get it back if I stall for enough time. Something about TTKs. Yeah, but anyways, I don't think I'm going to think of it, but hand cannon users will lie and be like, oh, you know, the Messenger's really the strongest gun in the game because .67 TTK. No, it's all utter nonsense. And if Bungie always balances by usage, okay? They're going to say, like, this thing is used a lot, so we need to nerf it. I mean, by that token, I could say Dead Man's Tale had a terrible TTK, didn't it? I mean, at best, it was like a 150 hand cannon TTK. I don't know. I know it has, at stock, it should have a 1 second TTK because it's a 120. So you can go, Dead Man's Tale, it doesn't need to be nerfed, it's a 1 second TTK. No. You know, TTK don't mean crap. I mean, it does, but it's only one part of the picture. So yeah, don't buy the .67 TDK nonsense. That's almost impossible. Oh, if anybody's sitting there saying like, oh, you know, I two burst constantly with the messenger, it's easy. Tell them, okay, show me that video. They won't unless they're on PC using an aimbot, maybe, because they can't. Or just go look at like True Vanguard, Aztec Cross, any of these YouTubers. Go look at their video with a 340 pulse. Go see if they're two bursting. Count, you know, in a whole match how many times they two burst somebody. Maybe once, maybe twice, maybe probably more likely they will not do it the whole game. It's just not common, you know. It's not repeatable, reliable. I remember I used to run, especially on console, where you don't have like baby laser aim. I used to run Blast Furnace all the time back in when it was good. And it was like, I think, 6 crits and 2 bodies for a 2 burst. So that's pretty forgiving in a way. Because 340s have to do a 5 crit 1 body, I think. And I never got 2 bursts. I mean, I would carefully look for them. I almost never. I remember getting one once, and how I got it was like the guy moved his head into my burst. Like, my burst didn't correct towards him. He just like jerked his head like more fully, so my burst fully caught him. So I figured out that the only way you ever really got 2 bursts was if they moved into your burst, like in the exact right way. You couldn't control for it, you know. And like I said, that was with a 6-2 ratio, which is lower than the messengers. So anyways, yeah, those are all my points about the hand cannon fallacy, the joke, why they're always scared, they're all such cowards. I could talk about skill. They talk about skill. Well, hand cannon's killing 2 or 3 shots. That's lower than anything else. You know, how many shots does it take to kill with an auto rifle or a pulse rifle? How many crits? So they have the most aim assist. A lot of them have like 100 aim assist or close. And then on top of that, they're getting a double dip in aim assist because they have like a wide aim assist cone because they have low zoom. And if you study how this game works, a wider cone means you're getting like more aim assist. Lower zoom means more aim assist like naturally. Kind of a little bit hard to explain, but so yeah, the aim assist on hand cannons is insane. They're the easiest things to use in the game. This video is now 37 minutes, so I'm gonna call it.